Virginia. The former Richmond Fairgrounds is now Richmond International Raceway, a 3/4 mile oval ringed with seats near all the way around, where the fans expect action, and they are rarely disappointed. Bud Pole qualifying coming at you on Speed. Welcome to Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Bud Pole qualifying from Richmond International Raceway. Field getting set to go to line them up. 45 cars here for 43 spots. 1 week ago, Kurt Busch ended the string of races without a repeat winner. He's now the season's only two-time visitor to victory lane, and finds himself fourth in the championship chase, 168 points out of first. That spot held by his Roush Racing teammate Matt Kenseth. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to lead the points for the first time ever, and four-time titleist Jeff Gordon sits third. Hi everybody, and welcome to Richmond. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds and Darrell Waltrip. And Darrell, we've said it about the 2 mile and the 1.5 mile tracks, but when you come here and go off into turn one, this place is fast.
Oh, yeah. You don't realize it. You think about this being a short track, but this thing's a 3/4 mile speedway. I was here last night watching the Busch cars practice. Man, they're flying down that back straightaway, and that's the slowest part of the racetrack. You come around this big D-shaped front straightaway, you're probably going to hit 140, 45 miles an hour, headed off into that slick, and I repeat, slick first turn.
Larry, this track looks wide along the front straightaway as we see, but where you need it to be wide, it just funnels up on you, and you got to keep your car in one piece here. It's hard to do.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest thing is and we talk about this a lot every week, but especially on qualifying day with fresh tires, everybody wants to run around the bottom. It's a very hit-your-mark sensitive racetrack. Yeah, it's wide, but if you miss your mark that far, you're going to get up out of the groove, and you're not going to have a very good qualifying lap. But, Darrell, you talk about how fast they run off in the corners. One of the biggest challenges for the crew chief is convincing that driver you have to roll out of the throttle, because the law of physics is going to take over. We've got to go around that corner and come out the other end, and that beats more people here on qualifying day is overcharging, overdriving the entrance of the corner.
And especially down in turn one, where stands Dick Berggren.
Two fastest drivers in practice this morning were Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Bobby Labonte. Earnhardt just a tick off the track record, while most of the rest of the people they're going to compete against in this pole qualifying effort are busily working on their cars and trying to figure out what tire combination to run. Those two fastest drivers are doing nothing to their car since practice. To Steve Burns.
Well, thanks, Dick. Jeff Gordon has 2 wins on this racetrack, and he's been the pole sitter here 4 times. That's really great news, right? Not really. You see, every time Jeff Gordon wins a pole, he has a rough day or night. His best finish after winning a pole, 31st. Jeff Gordon fans will be relieved to know that in practice he was 18th fastest, Mike Joy.
Thanks, Steve. Drivers coming out to qualify. Weepers plagued the track yesterday in qualifying for the Busch cars and in their final practice. We'll have a look at track conditions next. Welcome back to Bud Pole qualifying for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series on Speed. 45 cars for 43 positions. Last night was a rough one for the NASCAR Busch Series. Here's Dion Ciccarelli guest crashing the 84 in qualifying. The line I stole from Kenny Mayne. Sorry, no disrespect intended. Jason Rudd, similar outcome, not quite as much damage. So the track folks went out, put some grooves in the track to try to promote drainage.
Yeah, and those were the first 2 cars out. So, you know, the first 2 cars out, they spin out. All of a sudden you say, you know, we may have a problem here.
Mike Wallace has a look. And then after a 3-hour delay, we finally get things going. Mike McLaughlin is back. That was him in the CC number 34. And then Michael Waltrip comes out and wins the pole for tonight's Busch race. Dick Berggren.
And I'm rushing over here to find Michael Waltrip, who just walked away from his spot. We're looking at all this new asphalt at the bottom of the racetrack, Michael. What's it all about?
They dug and put drains in that'll allow the water to come out of the racetrack and drain into these. There's gravel underneath the new asphalt that will let the water drain out of the track. There's just been so much rain in the southeast that the water just kind of pushing up out of the track. They did a great job yesterday addressing the problem prior to Busch qualifying, and were able to square it away. Today, I think with the with the clouds out and no sunshine beating down on the asphalt, it's not pulling the water out as bad, so we're not having a problem today. But it's not a biggie. I think the track will be even from beginning to end. I just hope I get to go.
You will. You'll be fine.
Michael Waltrip waiting on his car.
Yeah,
on the 5-minute clock.
You said that the first car was out. I said, no, Michael's the first car out. I didn't realize that he didn't have his car down there.
Brett Bodine, second car on the list. He is the first car out. Was not very quick in practice.
Now 43rd quickest, and this is only his 5th start this year, so he would be one that would just about would have to be in that top 36 qualifying times to get in this show.
Well, 21.90.
Yeah, that's borderline. I think it'll get in, though, because I heard a lot of 21.90s practice, and that's a high 90. That may not be good news.
Yeah, but that's 2/10 slower than he practiced, Darrell. But I'm going to tell you, we may see that a lot today.
You will.
What you have to remember, if these guys cut a quick lap in practice, it could have been on tires that had a little heat in them, and heat and tires here really helps it hook up better. Everybody's going to qualify on cold tires now.
And today is the worst day of the year to get an early draw. If the track is weeping some water, the more cars that run, the quicker that'll dry up, just like after any rainstorm.
Yeah, you know, if I had to go out first, I don't know that I'd be in a hurry to get my car down there.
At least it may be in 4.5 minutes.
If they gave me 5 minutes, I think I may use all 5 of them. At least 4.99, 4.59.
Elliott Sadler on the speedway, 5th at California, was his 5th top 5 qualifying effort of 03. Finished 23rd there. They used to have in IMSA, was it IMSA or Trans Am? It was one of those road race series where they had a deal where if you went on the track and you didn't like that, you could wave off. Well, one day at Watkins Glen, the whole field cycled through one wave off, and that was the end of that rule.
I was going to say, I can remember some days when they'd still be qualifying.
Yeah, right.
They'd never get done.
You know, Elliott, he struggled in practice today a lot like Brett Bodine because he was only 41st quickest. But we've seen this so many times this year, a racetrack that Elliott Sadler has struggled with. 8 starts here, never had a top 15 finish, but that was the same way at Martinsville till he climbed in his 38 Robert Yates car.
Sadler, quickest of 2.
I think, Larry, you'll see a little pickup in some cases, but not much. I don't think you're going to see, unless the guy plans on it. Now, we'll be able to tell. Sometime Jeff Gordon will go out on a little bit lower air and make that second lap count. But I tell you, most of the time, that first one's going to be your best one.
And it looks like Mikey's going to make it as they 1 horsepower that thing to the front of the line. This is the 94th Winston Cup race at Richmond International Raceway, or its predecessor. What was the first pole speed? The answer when we come back. Speed Channel's coverage of Winston Cup qualifying from Richmond International Raceway brought to you by new muscle shoes from Red Wing. So comfortable you can't take them off. And by Stacker 2, the world's strongest fat burner.
That's where the guy says, I got to have me a pair of them metaphors.
That's right. I like that.
Metaphors. Ricky Craven. Started 15th, finished 15th in California.
Now he's the fastest of the 3 so far on his first lap. Car looks a little bit.
A lot out of shape.
I was going to tell you, she's a little nervous getting down into 1. She's real nervous off of 2 over there.
Nice save. In 1953, the newest member of the South Carolina Sports Hall of Fame, Buck Baker, won the pole here in an Oldsmobile. The track was dirt then. 48.465. I had to have Greg Field and look it up twice. That had to be a typo, but that was the pole, 48 miles an hour.
Close to what pit road speed would be now.
Right.
And I'd like to make it perfectly clear that I was not here.
Yeah. Okay.
Ricky Craven takes the pole there. Of course, he's the quickest of only 3 cars, but so far the closest anyone has come to backing up their practice speed is by about 1/10.5. But look at his hands here.
Oh, yeah. That's what you call sawing on the wheel. You see him take it right, take it left. Now he's going to, whoa, he's up on top. See, he's up on top of the wheel, and that's because he knows he's going to need both hands full because this baby is loose, pushing, sliding.
I mean, I was going to say, it'd be hard to describe it as loose or pushing, just sliding.
It's sliding. That's what went through his mind. I'm loose, no, I'm pushing, no, I'm just plain old sliding. He was slideways, Larry.
That's it. Kenny Wallace, 3 of his 9 Busch Series wins have come at Richmond. Here's Steve Burns.
and caught up with Elliott Sadler, 21.876. You don't look like you're too happy with that.
No, we got a problem somewhere. We're not real sure. I mean, I got to give the credit to guys. They've changed everything you can bolt on and off a race car today, and it still won't run any faster than that. And we got a long weekend ahead of us for tomorrow night. We don't know where to start. We're scratching our heads. We never had a car act like this one is acting, and DJ's having about the same problem. So let's keep working on it and try to get as many points as we can for tomorrow night. Thanks, Elliott.
You know, I came here and tested a few times, particularly when they started sealing this racetrack the way they do. And we would leave here so confused. We'd go home, change spindles, we'd change trailing arms, a lot like what Elliott was saying, and never could get the car to work.
Wow. How about Kenny Wallace? He is quickest.
And he's the first car to back up his practice time. He ran a 21.47 in practice. He was 24th quickest. Now that some cars have run, we may start seeing cars pick up a little bit of rubber's getting down, cleaned off the racetrack. We may see cars starting to pick up now.
I think that's a good point, Larry. I think of what some of these guys may have seen last night, those first two cars out crashing. Of course, they had conditions last night, but I think that racetrack, a sealer on this track, that's kind of indicative of what it does. Sets a little while. It's not very good for the first 3 or 4 cars.
Plus, sealer does not absorb rainwater very well.
No, but it will soak up some heat.
Ah, yes. Johnny Benson.
Boy, what did he do to his car?
That's their car care line of waxes and polishes and things like that.
I kind of like
Eagle
it.
One.
I kind of like it. If that thing had red on there, if it had a little flame coming off of it, it would be a pretty good looking paint job.
Yeah.
I mean, got all kind of room to put flames on there.
Boy, Johnny got it down in there, and you saw the needle flutter.
149 miles per hour off in turn 1. There you see the backstretch a little shorter, right at 140 miles per hour.
Johnny Benson was one of several drivers went up to Walter Reed Hospital this week. Visit with.
Whoa, Johnny be good.
Yeah, Johnny be real.
Yeah, Johnny be real good.
I just laid out so you could use that line.
Thank you very much.
Chuck Berry'd be proud of you.
Yeah, 21.46, so he's actually a tick quicker than he was in practice, just a little bit.
Dick Berggren.
A couple of moments ago, you guys were talking about what the racetrack was like. Nobody can do a better job of describing a racetrack than Mark Martin. What's it like out there?
Well, it's a nice racetrack, and there's a lot of grip here. As you asked, when you do break loose here, you break loose hard. It slides, you know, big time once they break loose, but they stay stuck real good until they do break loose.
Is there one part of the racetrack that has better grip than another?
Well, the very bottom and then about 2 lanes up both have real good grip. The 1 lane up is a little slippery, and the place gets slick whenever it sits, and cars don't run on it.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Michael Waltrip trying to stay on qualifying pace here. The needle moves around a lot.
Yeah, he wasn't very happy with his car. He was way back. He was 31st in practice. And, of course, he's on the pole for the Busch race tonight, but I don't think the Napa car is quite that good.
Michael started on the outside pole in the Bahari Pontiac in 1990 here.
First lap is 21.80. Michael's 31st quickest in practice, 21.51. But, Mike, when you think about Richmond and race results, Michael Waltrip struggles here. 34 starts with not a single top 10 finish.
I don't think he would consider this one of his favorite tracks.
99 top 10 finishes in his career.
He's going to end up 4th quickest, 21.67. So even with the little 5-minute delay there, he still didn't back up what he ran in practice. Maybe he needed longer than that.
He needed about 15 minutes.
I bet he felt better. I bet he felt better about it. Richmond, Virginia has several home track heroes. Count Ricky Rudd among them and the Sadler brothers. Elliott and Hermie. And longtime car owner Junie Donlevy. Rookie of the year Lenny Pond. Sportsman champ Bill Dennis. A lot of great drivers from and
Tommy Ellis
from the Richmond area. Yes.
He was 16th quickest in practice. I talked to his crew chief, Pat Trice, and you know they had real high hopes of turning their season around at Martinsville. It didn't work out. They built a brand new car to come here, a Rouse chassis. They tested. They left here feeling good about race trim and qualifying trim. On his first lap, he's going to be 3rd quickest at a 21.59. He ran a 38 in practice.
He might pick up a skosh, but we've been seeing if they do pick up, it's about a 10th, but that's about it, looks like.
He won the fall race here, I think, in 2001. That big battle.
Oh, yeah. Remember him and Harvick. Harvick turned him sideways over there, and then Ricky caught him back and turned him sideways, and he won the race.
One of the greatest finishes, certainly, of that season, if not any season. He's also two-time pole winner here. One for Richard Childress and one for Rick Hendrick. Steve?
Mike caught up with Kenny Wallace, 21.473. Are you happy with that effort?
I'm happy with the effort, not with the time. You know, I mean, the car was okay. The problem I had was getting into 3. I couldn't turn down on it because I was a little loose getting in. Had to run a little high entry getting into 3, and, you know, that was a little bit of speed right there. I'd like to got in the 30s, but, you know, it's what we ran in practice, so, you know, the track's got new sealer on it. It's a little different, so we'll chase it throughout, you know, tomorrow night. Good luck, Kenny. Thanks.
Kenny Wallace, second quickest right now. Here's Jeff Green, whose best start here was 6th in the 46 car in 1998.
Darrell, I talked to Mike Beam, his crew chief, this morning. Interesting, this was their Martinsville car. They wasn't very happy with that car at Martinsville. Said it had no rear grip. In other words, the rear tires were only spin up on acceleration. They went straight from Martinsville in 2 days to Myrtle Beach, a little short track down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and strictly worked on stuff to hook the rear end up under acceleration.
And of course, Jeff's run there a lot in the Busch Series, and sometimes it's good to go somewhere where you know the racetrack, so that you know what you're looking for. When you get the feel you're looking for, you know you got it. I used to do that in Nashville. I used to love to go over to Nashville and test, because I knew when I got my car right there, I knew what I could expect out of it next time, wherever I went next.
Remember, Green finished second here last fall, or third here last fall.
Yeah, he was not very good in practice. 37th quickest. I don't think he's going to be very happy. He's 6th quickest out of 8 cars.
Yeah, he tied with Michael, actually. 6.79, 6.79.
But because Michael is further ahead in owner points, he would start in front of Jeff Green.
Steve is with Johnny, who be very good right now.
Well, I'll say, Mike, and remember a year ago, Johnny had to watch this race because he was hurt during the Busch race. But tell us about your qualifying effort.
I think it was okay. I mean, you know, but I ran that time in practice, and I was 29, so I'm not sure how excited we are. But hopefully the track slowed up a little bit. I don't know. I mean, I really believe that after another 10, 15 cars go, guys are going to turn off some really great times, and we'll end up about 23rd-ish, I'm guessing.
Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, thanks.
Boy, that's not very optimistic. 8 cars have gone. He's on the top of the heap, and he's going to end up 23rd.
He kind of sounded like Eeyore.
Uh-oh, having a whale of a conversation here. My car is down, it's up, it's bouncing. Yeah, but has yours ever done anything like that?
Joe Nemechek and teammate Jimmy Johnson.
Jerry Nadeau is qualified in the top 3 rows in half of the last 6 races, including California.
He's a qualifier now. He gets every ounce of it out of that bad boy.
You know, I talked to Ryan Pemberton, and I actually talked to him at Fontana, which is Jerry's crew chief, and he said, you know, the biggest thing with Jerry, it's not a problem, it's a great problem to have. He drives a race car so hard, he almost can't focus on the input to give you about the race car.
That's what you call focus. And it's just all on one thing. That's gassing it. That's my job. How about helping me out?
You're right.
There you go. That's a good speed. Jerry Nadeau
picked up a couple of tenths on the second lap.
If somebody's going to knock you off the pole, might as well be your teammate.
That's right.
Nadeau kicks Benson off the top of the leaderboard.
He can qualify.
This week, General Dennis Caven, the head of recruiting for the U.S. Army, led a group of Winston Cup drivers on a tour of Walter Reed Hospital to meet with some of the service folks that were injured over in Iraq. Michael Waltrip, Kenny Wallace, Johnny Benson were there. Of course, Jerry Nadeau, who drives for the U.S. Army, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Nice to meet you, sir. You've been fantastic. Well, we got guys taking pictures.
Like the biggest NASCAR fan.
Yeah, man.
Junior said that the trip had a big impact on him. He said the Army has hundreds of thousands of fans in NASCAR, and I wanted those folks to know I'm one of them.
Yeah, you know, something that always, I used to think about, I didn't like to go to hospitals, I didn't like to do a lot of things. Then I realized it wasn't for me. It wasn't about what it was good for me or what I liked. It was what it did for the people that you go to visit, and that really uplifts your spirits.
Jamie McMurray, who is the rookie point leader, He has qualified for every race thus far this season, hasn't had to take a provisional.
Not bad for a rookie, and I'm going to tell you, he's a lot better. It looks like here qualifying he was in practice, because even on his first lap, he's backed up what he ran in practice. But every time I think about Richmond, Virginia, and Jamie McMurray, finished second here in the fall race. He's going to be fourth quickest on his second lap. But that's the weekend that Chip Ganassi signed him to the contract to run this race car, and it's like everything picked up.
Yeah.
Bush program picked up everything.
They call him McLucky.
You make a lot of your own luck. Dick Berggren.
Well, last September, the Winston Cup cars were here at Richmond, and the pole winner was Jimmy Johnson. Fast in practice this morning as well, with third quick out of all the cars that were out here practicing. What do you think? You going to get this pole this afternoon?
I hope so. I need a red hat, and I'm not in that Bud shootout yet, so I hope so. This was one of my hardest tracks in the Busch Series when I was competing here in Busch, and to come back and be this competitive in a Winston Cup car, very proud of my guys. Give me a great race car, and I've also learned a lot too. Short tracks are probably the hardest thing for me to learn, even coming from ASA. So I'm very excited. Hopefully we got a good race car. I know we got a good race car. Hopefully the driver goes out there and does what he needs to do, and we get a good starting spot. The pole would be nice, but pit pick and track position is more important than anything, so I don't want to go out and make a dumb mistake. So we'll have fun with Los Monte Carlo. All
right, good luck with it. Steve Burns?
Well, Dick, for the time being, Jerry Nadeau is the quickest. Jerry, did you get what you needed to get done on the racetrack?
Yeah, it was a decent lap. I didn't think it was that fast. The track's real slick, a lot slicker than it was in practice, and so far it's top time, but I'm sure there's a lot of good cats later on that are going to post a good time. But it's a good run for the U.S. Army. Pontiac, happy for the team.
Kenny Schrader, who sat on the pole here for Rick Hendrick in 1993, is in the third row for now.
Yeah, that must not be that Martinsville car.
It is that Martinsville car, though.
It must be that Martinsville car.
It is in Martinsville.
Like Cole Jr. always told me, that car don't know where it is.
But he was good all weekend there, qualified fourth and had a good top 10 finish.
Kevin Harvick suiting up.
Be going out here in about 6 or 7 cars.
Now he's got that dark shield on his helmet this afternoon, but I hope he doesn't forget to change that before the race.
Oh, I've run around like a chicken with my head cut off on that movie before.
I can't see.
Mark Martin, who told you earlier about where the sweet spots are in this racetrack. In his first appearance at Richmond, he sat on the pole. That was 1981.
I was there at that race.
Yeah,
I was there. I think he beat me, as a matter of fact.
Once he joined Jack Roush, he picked up the pole here in 96 and 2 years ago.
Of course, we all remember that race. I think it was back in 1989 here, where that year he lost the championship by just a handful of points, but had the intake manifold height or carburetor spacer infraction. They took points away, and he lost the championship by less points than what they had taken away that year.
That's right. That was the race he won, which was 1990.
1990,
yeah, because 89 and Rusty won both races here.
Mark's going to be
on the way to the championship.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night's race. Should be a lot of fun.
The issue on that intake wasn't that the spacer was wrong or the manifold was wrong, but that the spacer was welded to the manifold and not a separate part. Dimensionally, it met the rules. Attachment-wise, it did not.
And your point is, I mean,
it's history.
We could go there, you know.
No, it's history.
We'll go there if you'd like.
Let's leave it.
You're our leader. We'll follow you.
No, let's leave that one.
Now, here, what has he done to his car?
Whatever he's done, he's been pretty good here today because he was 13th quickest in practice.
I like this.
Cheese.
I like this too.
The power of cheese.
Look at this right here, guys.
The power of the pole, maybe.
First lap.
Yeah, but I think he just blew it going into turn 3.
Still pretty solid there. Yeah, he lost it right there coming off 4. So, which probably is a product of how he got into turn 3.
But it's on his first lap. He might be able to recover.
He was the pole winner here in 96 and 97, his most recent short track pole.
142 miles per hour off into turn 3 on his second lap. If he can get off turn 4, he should have the pole.
Looks better.
Staying pretty solid there. Yeah, it's a good lap. 21:34. That betters what he ran in practice.
I've seen this cat win races here convincingly.
So by more than 1/10 of a second, Terry Labonte cuts the cheese in Richmond. He's our current pole sitter.
Got any wine?
This weekend, it's all on Speed and FX. Tonight, it's all on FX. Winston Cup practice at 6, and the NASCAR Busch Series pre-race begins at 7. Tomorrow, the Pontiac Excitement 400 is on FX, 7 p.m. Eastern Time.
I don't know how Terry feels, but anytime I run something special on my car, paint job or whatever, and I did that and I ran that well, I wanted to run it all the time. Leave it alone. Just leave it like that.
That was the car he ran at Martinsville. It was brand new. That car ran good here. And here's Hermie Sadler. Hermie needs to pick it up from practice because he was only 45th quickest.
Trying to make his 3rd start of the season. Last year, his 18th place finish here was his best in Winston Cup. They have a whole group of Virginia colleges and universities that alternate sponsorship on this car.
Well, that car just will not turn in the middle of the turn there, Larry. You see, it just kind of goes up, 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 and he just gets a whole big old handful of it and jerks it to the bottom, but it's not really rolling through the center like it needs to.
And I know he'll be disappointed. He spent 2 days up here testing. I'm going to tell you, Darrell, I looked at that race car right there. It is a neatly built race car. They've taken a lot of pains in building that car, but he's only going to be 12th quickest out of 14 cars. He's going to be like Brett Bodine with his starts. He's going to be very borderline.
Now here's Jeff Gordon's car being rolled up, and you note the relationship between the reflection and the bottom of the air dam. It's not level.
Well, you have to be 3.5 inches there, but these cars, they're running them so soft. And you saw Joe Nemechek, I think what he was describing a while ago, Jeff Gordon's teammate, getting off in the corner, how the car dives down with the soft springs on the nose. You have to run it much higher. It'll just drag. So that what they've done, it's plastic right there. They've actually cut it off to where it right against the racetrack. There you see right there, Todd Bodine, he drove off in the corner, and Todd was pretty quick in practice. The nose just sunk, sealed off to the racetrack.
Steve Burns.
Thanks, Mike. And Terry Labonte, I'll apologize before I even say this. There was nothing cheesy about that lap.
No, there wasn't, was there? But it was a good lap. Our Kellogg's Got Milk, the Power of Cheese Chevy, has been running good in practice, and you know, that's a pretty decent qualifying run for us. I messed up a little bit in the first lap and picked up a little bit the second one, so that'll get us a good spot.
Thanks, Terry.
Dick Bergeron.
And in the spirit of brotherly love, here's Bobby Labonte, Terry's brother. You've been watching all this qualifying that's been going on today. What do you make of it?
You know, it looks like times might slow down a little bit for a lot of guys. Terry picked up some, but you know, I say slow down. I mean, a half a tenth here and maybe a full tenth for some of them. But then again, some of them run about the same speed. Terry picked up some, so we get our car down here. We'll see what our Interstate Battery Chevrolet's got.
We've been hearing from a lot of people that they haven't got good grip on the racetrack. Are you going to start out and try to run this time trial a bit tight?
I hope so. I hope it's more tight than loose, I'll be honest with you. But yeah, we've been fighting a little bit of that in practice. It's not really underneath me like I'd like to have it, but it's been pretty fast, so I can't complain about it too much.
Grip is what we've been hearing on the scanners as we've listened to drivers during the practice.
Wow, Robbie Gordon was exciting getting off turn 4 to start his run.
Some more of that slideways. Did you know that Terry Labonte over here in one of these tents, one of their corporate tents, they've got a car just like that carved out of cheese.
No kidding.
A block of cheese, and it weighs 3,000 pounds.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, you have no way of knowing that.
I'm speechless.
I popped that right on you. So.
Snuck it in.
A little inside information.
Todd Bodine, by the way, finished his run in 9th. And the two big news about Todd Bodine, two big news items. One, he has a sponsor for his Busch car for the next few races. And two, his teammate Hideo Fukuyama practiced, and that car was withdrawn. That's how we're left with 45 cars here.
Yeah, he crashed actually in practice, and I think he crashed up here testing as well. And he may have run out of bullets.
That's a big withdrawal from the luck bank.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Robbie Gordon's run again. I mean, he really slid this car around here.
Oh, this is classic slideways.
Oh, it's fun to watch.
Watch his hands. Whoa, baby. Good thing he's quick.
He was busy in there. He's going to end up 8th quickest. Of course, it was announced last week he's going to do the double duty. But the neatest thing I heard this week is he's going to include some fans on this double duty. He's got the double duty tour where there's a group of fans that's going to travel with him that entire day. And they say you can find out more about that by going to www.teamgordon.com. I think that's pretty neat.
That's cool.
Or you could click over to dwstore.com, and I think we're going to run a little something on there about it too.
We'll link to it, right?
We'll link to them. What do you think?
Van will link to them.
KC Mears has 2 Busch Series starts here.
This is a car and chassis, rather, that Jimmy Spencer ran here both races last season. Of course, Jimmy Spencer in this car last year. He was 9th quickest in practice, and right now on his first lap, he's 6th quickest. Let's see what happens down here. She's moving back and forth.
Looked better getting off of 2 that time. Down low, nice and clean off of 4 here. If he can get back to the line, looks like a pretty decent lap.
Yes, it does. 2nd quickest for Casey. Great run for him.
His best start of the season, 10th at Talladega. He's in a position to better that. Bud Pole qualifying is brought to you by Budweiser. The best things in life are the things that are true. Budweiser. Terry Labonte is quickest of 17 drivers so far. Here is Kevin Harvick. His Childress teammates have already timed in 9th and 14th. Dick Berggren.
He has a better record on the 3/4 mile at Richmond rather than Rusty Wallace with 6 wins, 3 poles, but you weren't all that quick in practice this morning. What'd you do to the car to try to get some more speed?
Well, we did some tire adjustments, some right front camber work, a couple subtle things. And they say the track's coming to us pretty good, so let's hope it works out.
All right, good luck with it. These guys are so ready to win, Mike Joy.
Overdue.
Yeah, and this cat here has got his hands full, too. He looks a lot like his teammate did.
And I'm going to tell you, this is going to be so disappointing for these guys because he was 4th quickest in practice at a 21:28. And he's going to be slower, it looks like, on his 2nd lap, and he's by a bunch. I mean, 21:67, they will not be happy with
One
that.
thing I noticed, Larry, nobody on this front straightaway. Normally, you kind of make a late entry into the turn. It is so slick, and I can see it from here. If you get out of the groove, you'd probably spin out because you can't get out wide and swing down into turn 1 the way you'd like to. See all this out in here? I mean, that is just really, really treacherous going out in there.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in open, Mike. You said how wide it is, but if you miss your marks, looks like by about 6 inches, you're out of the groove and in trouble.
The other thing I'm curious to know about is what is all this that happened around the inside here? There's been a trench dug or something around the racetrack. Got to find out about that, Larry.
Put our best men on it. Smitty and Fat Boy.
Jimmy Johnson working between 4th and 8th on the Fox tracker. 4 top 10 starts this season.
Ooh, 2nd.
The pole here last fall and backs it up with a run that is 2nd so far.
That's on his first lap. You saw his teammate Jeff Gordon studying mighty hard right there. Jimmy, of course, was 3rd quickest in practice.
Still holding right there, about a 10th back of the pole.
He's plenty free getting off in the turn, but it's really helping him get off. He doesn't have a lot of push in the car, not a lot of steering input.
He actually slowed down just a tick on his 2nd lap, so he'll be 2nd quickest.
Dick?
Well, your teammate was 2nd quick. You've done pretty well in pole qualifying here with 4 of them in your past and 2 wins here as well. Car that won Martinsville. What do you got for him today?
Well, we got a great car. We just haven't quite been able to get me real comfortable getting in, but we made some adjustments right there towards the end of practice and picked up. And, you know, this is a tricky track. A lot of times in practice, you'll see guys really bust out some fast laps, and sometimes they don't back it up in qualifying. So we're hoping that we actually pick up a little bit, and maybe some of these other guys back up to us, and we'll move from 18th maybe up in the top 5 or 10.
Sounds like a good plan. To Steve Burns.
Dick, with rookie Casey Mears, who is 3rd quickest, accepting congratulations. Are you pleased with that lap?
I think so. I mean, we ran about roughly a tenth slower than we did in practice, but it looks like everybody's kind of slowing down a bit. The track's a little bit slicker, but I mean, we're happy with it. It's going to be a decent qualifying effort for us, and everybody at Target Dodge is working real hard. Really special thanks to Sterling because they came here and tested and did an excellent job. We unrolled out of the box with this setup and ran good right off the bat. So I think it's going to be a good car for us, and I just appreciate a good job they did.
Thanks, Casey. Back upstairs.
Joe Nemechek makes it 3 Hendrick Chevys in the top 3 spots. He is 2nd on his first lap.
I think he may have lost a little time off of turn 2 that time. He got a little loose as he exited that turn.
Yeah, a lot like Jimmy Johnson. He lost just a little bit of time on the 2nd lap.
Not much, but he was wiggling as he come off the 2nd lap.
Front row Joe has never started in the front 2 rows here at Richmond.
And I think what we're seeing is what some of the guys predicted. It's getting faster and faster and faster. Every time somebody goes out, it seems like they pick up a wee bit more.
So Johnny Benson was right. His stay as pole sitter was short-lived. He's now down the board to 6th. 3 Chevys, a Dodge, 2 Pontiacs, 2 Dodges, and a couple of Fords fill the top 10 in Bud Pole qualifying at Richmond. Here is Bobby Labonte.
Speaking of the manufacturers, you know, this track that complements the Fords. They won the majority of the races here. I think it's a lot power curve, the way the engine performs.
Should very well be.
In 8 of the last 9 races here, Bobby Labonte has started in the top 10. That streak was broken here last fall. He started 18th. He has 1 pole here in his first Winston Cup season, 1993, for Junior Johnson.
I think that first lap, I would hope that it was a throwaway lap. I think he would expect to be better than 18.
He's looking pretty good, though. He keeps bouncing back and forth between first and second. Now he's moving back to third. It's going to be a pretty good lap for Bobby. Of course, he was second quickest in practice.
Yeah.
Third quickest, 21:39. You hear a lot of guys referencing their Martinsville car. This is the car that Bobby ran second at Martinsville about 3 weeks ago.
Dick Berggren.
With Sterling Marlin, who last year was 35th and 32nd in qualifying. So you came up here and did some practice, some testing. How good's the car now that you've gone through all that?
Well, when we got here, we was terrible. So I said, everyone, all the testing out the window, but we just went through a lot of stuff and basically went back to where we was. We run I think a 40 up here testing, and the track was pretty dirty, and some good cars here run around 40. So come back for a little better motor, run a 29 in practice, and maybe we got a little bit left. I don't know. We'll see.
Had a good practice run this morning.
It's a very difficult track to come and test because of the sealer. Unless you get a lot of cars here to get the track kind of like in the condition to be when there are 45 or 6 other cars with you. It's hard to test here.
Rusty Wallace has 3 poles here, all of them since this track was expanded from 1/2 to 3/4 of a mile.
He'll make his 600th consecutive start this weekend. Started back at this record started at Daytona in February of '82, 21 years. Of course, the record's Ricky Rudd at 690. He was on a pole run all the way to turn 3, though, Darrell.
Yeah, it looks like guys are just having trouble getting into turn 3. That's where they seem to lose the time.
Whoa, faded a lot coming off turn 4 back to 9th.
If you just drive in just ever so slightly too hard into turn 3, you got to get hard on the brakes and it just knocks your lap speed down.
Yeah, he's not getting off the corner very good. He lost a lot of ground off turn 2 that time right there. He was 19th quickest in practice.
I think he used all his stuff up on the first lap.
He actually slows down just a little bit that second lap.
And Mike, I know you'd say, well, if testing here is so difficult, why do you come here? If you don't run well here, you've got to come here and try to figure out why. So even if you burn a test and you come back like Sterling said and throw everything away and put it back like it was some other time when you were here, you still got to try.
Steve?
Joe Nemechek is second quick, 21.366, your quickest lap. Are you happy with that, Joe?
It's a little slower than what we practiced, but first lap was awesome. I got to thank all these guys. We worked really hard on this car in practice and got it faster and faster, and it drove great in qualifying. My first lap was good. The second lap, I didn't quite drive it hard enough.
First one counts, though. You're second quick.
Oh, yeah. I got to say hello to Andrew and the kids back at home. We got some good race cars this week.
Best of luck.
Bill Elliott, 20th right now. You might be surprised to know he's a 3-time pole winner here.
Bill's always been a good qualifier everywhere he goes.
He beat us like a drum here in 1992. I think he sat on the pole, won the race, and led almost about 350 laps or better of that race.
Correct.
And Bill's not traditionally known as a short track driver, not a guy that really excels. He's more of a Talladega Daytona kind of driver, but he has won here once.
Going to be 15th for Bill Elliott. Terry Labonte is quickest. His teammate Joe Nemechek is second. 4 Chevrolets lead the field. Tomorrow and Sunday from Infineon Raceway at Sears Point, California, AMA Superbike racing on speed. There's the track record holder, Ward Burton, getting ready to roll. 23 of 45 drivers have been on track so far. Greg Biffle, the Busch Series champ. 13th at Rockingham, his best qualifying of the year.
Yeah, he was He was 17th quickest in practice. You know, you would think this type of racetrack would definitely suit Greg Biffle's style of driving.
Yeah, with his background, the short tracks in California, and then the Truck Series and the Busch Series, this should be sort of like his cup of tea.
He has a win here. He won the truck race here in '99. He has 4 Busch starts and 3 truck starts at this racetrack.
Pretty good first lap, 10th quickest, and you see kind of bouncing back between 5th and 10th right here as he goes through 3 and 4 on his second lap. Lost a little bit right in the middle of turn 3 and 4. It's going to be about the same, little bit pickup on that second lap, so he moves to 9th quickest at a 21:47.
And last week, Larry, we were talking about he had a new car at California, and the guys informed me he's had other new cars. That wasn't his only new car.
Biffle is second to Jamie McMurray in the rookie point standings. Casey Mears, Jack Sprague, Tony Raines, and Larry Foyt as trails the pack. They took a couple races off. That's how the rookies stand. Dave Blaney was excused from his original position in line, which would have been 11th. Jeremy Mayfield also excused. So here is Blaney now, who finished 13th at California. Started 3rd here last fall.
Yeah, I think he'll run pretty good today. This ought to be Booty Barker. It ought to be his crew chief. Ought to be pretty good here for a setup.
He struggled in practice a little bit, 35th quickest, and just so we make sure that people understand the difference between being excused and like Michael Waltrip was on the 5-minute clock. If you're just late going through inspection, that's not excusable, 5-minute clock. But if you go to John Darby or someone with NASCAR prior to qualifying and say, look, I'm having a problem with a gear, I'm having a problem with an engine, I need some extra time, they will work with you.
Blaney's going to be a bushwhacker tonight.
Yeah, he's driving that 31 car, and he's fast. Yeah. I watched practice last night, and he really looked fast in that thing.
This was their Martinsville car. Booty said they were about as disappointed with it at Martinsville as you've ever been with a race car. And right now he's going to end up 15th quickest.
Yeah, I think I would expect him to run better than that, Larry. I was thinking he'd qualify pretty decent, actually.
While he's in the show, he'll make the top 36, as will Robbie Gordon. That's the cutoff point right now, is 16th Gordon for making the field on time.
You have to beat 9 cars, and that locks you into that top 36.
Right. The Winston Cup point standing leader, Matt Kenseth, who was one of the drivers who toured Walter Reed Hospital this week, started 7th here in this race last year, but in the fall started 25th and won it.
He was pretty quick in practice, too. He was 7th quickest. We've seen that with Matt a lot this year. I think we saw it at Fontana last week. Just didn't back it up in qualifying. But right now in his first lap, he looks pretty solid there. You see him lost a little ground right there in the middle of 3 and 4, but he's going to end up close to the top 10 on his first lap. Well, 18th quickest. He lost a lot of ground.
He lost a lot of time because he got through 1 and 2 really well.
Well, his best start of the year is 12th at Darlington, and 6 of the 10 races so far, he's started 23rd or worse. Hasn't hurt him race-wise, though.
Looking pretty good here if he can get off turn 4. Remember, this is where he had the big problem, though, on the first lap, and he loses some ground, but he's going to better that lap to 11th quickest, 21:51.
And he started 25th here and won the race, so, I mean, he can start back. He's kind of got that reputation.
Dick Berggren.
Well, Jared is just strapping into his race car. I noticed on your garage that the help wanted sign is still up. How is the search for a crew chief going, DJ?
Well, it's going okay. We've got some ideas now, but the biggest thing we have to do is we've got a lot of good people here now, and we have to make the most of what we have now. And we haven't been very fast here. Made some changes before qualifying. Hopefully they'll be pretty good, but we're still searching, just trying to find that right mix and make sure that when we do make a decision that it's the right one.
Now listen, as you do your search, unfortunately I've got some bad news for you. We're going to keep Hammond and McReynolds. You can't have them.
Oh, well, you know, those are good guys. If they've got any suggestions for me, then if they're not going to come back, then we'll be glad to listen. Old DW has been helping me out a little bit, too. So we're listening to everybody right now and seeing if we can make the most of this.
Yeah, they had a recommendation for you. Go like blazes, turn left at the end of the straightaway.
That's what I can
do. John Andretti started 5th here in his second season with the Petties in 1999.
He was 22nd quickest in practice. Just to put a period on a story about this car from Fontana, again, had a great run, ran in the top 10, finished 8th. Remember, his sponsors committed 250 books per lap or 43 books per lap for every lap he completed last week. He completed them all, so that means they donated 10,750 books to needy children in the Los Angeles and Fontana area. He picked a good day to run all the laps and to run good.
I'd have left that on my car if I'd have been him.
Yeah, that's right. Don't take that paint job off. John Andretti is 13th. Welcome back to Bud Pole qualifying. 27 of 45 drivers have been on the speedway. 4 Chevrolets are fastest, led by Terry Labonte. Dale Earnhardt Jr. started outside pole in this race last year.
He was the fastest man in practice.
So far, the only guy to get a standing ovation when he went out. So he got some fans.
Or they've had some beer.
Yeah, maybe he's been spread it around. Yeah,
or both. Could be both.
Could be both.
He's going to be about 14th quickest on his first lap, 21:56. His lap time in practice was 21:23, which is right there on top of Ward Burton's track record. There you see, he's flirting with it right here, right now, down the backstretch.
He was good coming out of 2, but
got into 3 good. Lost a little time in the middle of 3 and 4.
If he's able to stay in the throttle, it's going to be borderline third quickest.
5 Chevrolets at the front of the field.
Look at those times at the top of the list there. 34, a 36, a 37, a 39. First 4 cars.
It's tight. It's real tight.
5/100ths of a second among separate the first 4 cars.
How much is that?
Can you blink that fast?
I was going to say, how would you know how would you measure that?
It's very, very tiny.
Tiny. Very, very tiny.
How's that for a scientific term?
All right, here comes Jeffy.
A 4-time pole winner here. Jeff Gordon, 2 race wins to back that up, as you heard from the pits.
But I don't know if he's really excited about sitting on pole here, because every time he sat on the pole, he has finished 31st or worse. So the numbers don't look good here for him for sitting on the pole.
But, you know, Loomis told us the other night, he said that, Jeff, it won't be run very good, be way down on the sheet. And Loomis will say, what do you think? And he'll say, don't worry, buddy, I hadn't stepped it up yet.
I can't take credit for that information. Steve Burns gave me that information about that.
Looks a little bit snug right in the middle of the corner down there again. That's what guys complain about. Won't roll through the center of the turn. A lot of times that's because you got your foot on the brake.
Looking a little better on his second lap. He was 22nd quickest on his first lap. Woo, 5th quickest. Picked it up quite a bit, 21:41.
Yep.
Well, that puts 6 Chevys at the front of the field, and Steve's with a fellow who's right in the middle of them. Best lap of 21:37. Dale, how'd the driver do on that?
The driver didn't do good at all. The car was a little bit free in, and I just missed 3 and 4 on the second lap. I should have had a lot better lap, but the car's pretty good. We worked on it in practice. We're real quick. Feel confident about the race, but I could have got some more. I'm a little disappointed myself. Thanks, Dale.
Hey,
3. Yeah,
look.
Flames on the NACA duck cover. How about that?
Anywhere. As long as you got them, that's the main thing.
You're 3/100ths of a second off the pole. Why are you beating yourself up?
No. He's just that way. He's a perfectionist, and most drivers are. And you get that close, it just kind of bugs you, you know. Yeah. Oh, if I'd have just got back on the gas a little bit quicker.
Right. And I think we heard him say at Fontana during the race, he's a professional race car driver.
Right. He was not the man, but he was a professional race car driver.
That's a great line. Ward Burton, 1 year ago, set the track record here. Not going to happen today. A lot better on his second lap.
Yeah, looked pretty good off of 2 that time. Washed up. Oh, no, I lost a lot of time right there.
Yeah, you see that he pays the price all the way off 4, all the way on the front straightaway.
Even so, it's going to be a lot better than lap 1.
I think he would have been on a pretty darn good pace there had he not got it loose and sideways there.
Ward Burton is 14th. Terry Labonte, the fastest of 6 Chevys at the front of the field. That again. Welcome back to Bud Pole qualifying at Richmond. Terry Labonte fastest. Tony Raines on the speedway second. in the Busch race here 2 years ago, equaling a career best.
Little struggle in practice, though. Only 40th quickest.
I think he's going to be okay as far as provisionals are concerned. Close, but okay if he needs one.
See how the car went up, started up the track, and then he has to give it a real hard hitch to the left, and that just costs you so much time.
Yeah, I would say, Mike, that the two that's going to be very borderline would probably be Hermie Sadler and Brett Bodine, I would say, as far as, provisionals.
Right.
Tony's 30th quickest on his first lap at a 21.91. He ran a 21.68 in practice.
He'd probably like to have that right now.
Yes, he would. He's looking a little bit better.
23rd would put him in the show for sure.
24th.
Not quite.
Should have spoke sooner.
Well, it means he's got to beat one more car. You're right, I should have. He's got to beat one more car to be in the show on time and not have to depend on a provisional. Car owner Bill Bumgarner funding this team out of pocket. Sponsorship hard to come by.
Mr. Bumgarner, he's been loyal and faithful, I tell you that. In the Busch Series, I think he really is responsible for the success Randy LaJoie has experienced.
Johnny Benson won a championship with him.
Jimmy Spencer is reading to Dick Berggren.
Jimmy Spencer is reading my notes that I put together to prepare for these events. What do you see there?
That's very interesting. I mean, first of all, Dick, I was shocked that you can keep this thing together, and it says do not discard.
That's because I put it down in places. You know what I like about this? Those 2 Busch Series wins. How about it? You ready to do a Winston Cup win here, bud, or what?
We had a really good car here last year in the spring race, and Jimmy Johnson and I got together. And the series car's not running right now as well as we want to qualifying, so we made a bunch of changes on it. Hopefully we got it fixed. But I really feel that car will run really well in the race. All indications is pointing that way right now. Qualifying's a different animal, so we got happy out here in a little bit. I like this racetrack, and Tommy does. And we've made a lot of mistakes over the last couple of weeks. We don't plan on making any this Saturday night.
All right, Jimmy, he did run great here last week. Good luck. Steve Burns?
Thanks, Dick, with Jeff Gordon. And Jeff, I have to congratulate you for not sitting on the pole. Yeah. Every time you sit on the pole here, you want 31st or worse.
I know. I don't think I want to be on the. I want to be on the pole, but I don't want to be on the pole. But that's a good effort. We were struggling earlier today, and actually the car was kind of slipping and sliding around just then. But it looks like everybody has had trouble getting a hold of the racetrack. That sun sits on it. I don't know what it is, but this track really changed when you go to qualify. So we're pretty fortunate to almost back up our practice time and sitting 5th up there right now. We'll see. We should end up top 10. Thanks.
Kyle Petty's run equaled his best ever start, or not his best ever, but his 3rd best ever start here of 6th. Kyle got his first win here back in 1986.
That is a good run for Kyle, those 6 quickest.
I was here in 1986. I was stuck in the fence over there on the back straightaway with 2 to go. But the 3 car laid right into the side of me.
Imagine that.
And Kyle weaved and bobbed and found it. First thing you know, he came out the other side and he was leading the race and he won it.
Brian Newman, the Altel Penske Dodge.
He was 11th quickest in practice, but boy, I'm going to tell you what, as far as races, what a brick wall they've hit. They've had 3 straight DNFs. But you know what, guys? It was about this time last year they hit that wall, and about the time we hit the Richmond race, the races at Lowe's Motor Speedway, it started coming the other direction.
Yeah, he finished 2nd here both races last year.
Well, he's had a magnet on that car for other people's problems. Really hurt them in races.
Boy, he's had some. You take Daytona and Talladega, he's had some tough crashes.
Those were awful.
Those were hard licks.
It's a good run for him, though. 5th quickest.
Dick Berggren with the Winston Cup champ.
Yeah, and also the guy that won the companion to this race last year. Time trial 3rd for that event, but an engine change all the way to the back for the start. How much tougher is it to win from the back here than from the front?
It definitely makes for a long day, but if you've got a car that drives good and handles good like we've always had here, it's a long day, but at the same time, if you're patient, you can get there. Look at how Matt Kenseth came from 2 or 3 laps down in the fall race to come back and win here in the fall. So this is just one of those places that it seems like if you get your car right, nobody can stop you here no matter what happens. So you just got to work on your own car and not worry about what everybody else is doing here.
Your car right for this qualifying effort?
It's not bad. We'll wait and see. I keep watching up there. I mean, we always have looked up at the clouds and stuff to see what's going on. This place gains a bunch of grip at night, so you know, wait and see. We're kind of looking. It looks like we got a big cloud patch that'll be here in about 5 or 10 minutes. So you know, hopefully if we don't have to go out before that and we can catch this cloud and get the track temperature down 4 or 5 degrees, that might be worth a little bit.
Tony Stewart trying to move the weather.
DJ has 5 top 10 starts here and won't add to that this weekend. 32nd of 35.
And the ironic thing, you heard his teammate Elliott Sadler talk like both cars were experiencing the same problem. They are sitting there within about 2 1/100ths of each other, 32nd and 33rd. You know, I want to tell a neat story about Kyle Petty right there. You see him on the left. A lot's been said about the Victory Junction gang. Well, they've got a fabricator there, Ray Hudson, that's been working there for 25 years. And Ray has always wanted to do a hike over the Blue Ridge Parkway. So they gave Ray 6 months off. He started on March the 1st at Springer Mountain, Georgia, and he's going to hike 2,171 miles to Baxter State Park, Maine. 6 months. A lot of pledges for the Victory Junction gang. He hopes to raise over $25,000. In fact, Steve Burns, Kyle met Ray up there at one of the mile markers on the Blue Ridge Parkway on Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, Kyle, Larry McReynolds just talking about the hike on the Blue Ridge Trail.
Yeah, we got a guy, Ray Hudson. I went to high school with him. He's been talking about this forever, and he's walking the Appalachian Trail from down in Georgia all the way to Maine. We went and saw him the other day up around where Rick Mass lives pretty much. He's walked 800 miles, and he's doing it for the Victory Junction Gang Camp to raise money and awareness for that. It's phenomenal. If you've ever seen anybody that's walked this trail, or I know of anybody, my hat's off to everybody that's ever walked it, because it's a phenomenal thing that he's doing. And he's doing it for such a great cause. He's taken away from his family for about 6 months, but it's a big deal for Ray.
Hats off to you and your race team. Good qualifying run.
Yeah, we did. We had a really, really good run. We struggled the first part of this year, and then Bristol kind of set me back 4 or 5 races, and I'm a little bit sore here than I was last week. I have to admit, I didn't think Richmond was going to be, thought I was past that hump, but I'm not sure I'm past that hump yet. I'm still a little sore, but these guys did a phenomenal job, and it's good for Georgia Pacific and Coca-Cola and Wells Fargo Financial and all of our sponsors. You guys haven't been showing us on TV this year because it runs so bad, but hopefully this will be a sign of things to come.
Thanks, Kyle.
Jack Sprague completes his run. Welcome back to Richmond. Bud Pole qualifying. Sterling Marlin on track. And Gerald, Kyle Petty talking about how physical this track is.
Yeah, it really is. I used to get as tired here as I do as I would just about anywhere. This D shape, you're back in the throttle in the middle of 3 and 4, and you run around this front straightaway. This joint's a lot faster than people think it is. If you don't believe me, watch how they wad these cars up when they crash them up into the wall. And you don't have it just that little short straightaway right there where Sterling is now. The rest of the time, you're up on the wheel, baby.
Sterling 32nd. On lap 1.
And he was 5th quickest in practice. You heard his teammate Casey Mears talk about they came up here and tested. And remember, here in the fall, this is where trouble started for Sterling Marlin. Talk about hitting the wall. He hit the wall down there in 3 and 4, and it was kind of downhill from there.
Yeah, remember Johnny Benson took a hard lick here in the Busch race.
Somebody, I think in the Cup race, somebody dumped oil. Sterling got into it and sailed off into the fence hard.
Sterling probably won't be pretty happy with that, considering he was 5th quickest. Now he's 17th quickest after qualifying.
He'll head it into the garage as Steve Park comes onto the speedway.
Yeah, last week's pole holder.
3rd Winston Cup pole of his career. But Steve Park's race was over before the backstretch.
Man, he didn't get his water hot last week. I mean, he didn't get going at all and had trouble. That's a shame.
This car for them was brand new back at Martinsville, just like a lot of people built new cars for Martinsville and put sides on them and brought them here.
Yeah, a lot of different opinions about what kind of car to run here. A lot of guys like a standard Hopkins. Some guys like a drop snout 3/4 car here. I'm not really sure what it takes to be successful on this 3/4 mile track.
Yeah, and of course the drop snout, which means the suspension points are lowered down, and the thought process is on the flatter corners it just helps the car to turn. It can be a little loose getting in, which you don't get too concerned with at a place like this. You wouldn't want it to be loose in like at a place like Lowe's Motor Speedway or like at Fontana last week.
Park is going to be 19th, part of a big commemorative day up at DEI earlier this week. They celebrated what would have been Dale Earnhardt's 52nd birthday, a day-long celebration at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, which is now on Route 3 in Mooresville. 37 drivers have gone. 8 to go. New paint scheme, or they haven't taken that car completely out of the wrapper for Mike Skinner.
What's up with all the paint jobs?
Looks kind of like the bag it came in.
Remember, this is really the first points race under the lights, and you know, paint schemes show up a little different under the lights.
You think everybody's trying them out for the Winston in a couple of weeks?
I'd say that
see how they're looking.
Possibility.
Maybe this is a trial run for some of these paint jobs.
The pole sitter here for the fall race in '99.
He was 20th quickest in practice. This is a car that they ran at Bristol and Darlington. If you remember those two races, as Mike's going to be 21st quickest on his first lap, that's probably the best runs they had, but the finishing results just didn't reflect it. But they ran real well both races.
Boy, that's not the best stat of the week, but that was the only Pontiac not to bring out a caution last week.
Oh boy, he got loose.
Almost brought one out there.
He was really fighting with that race car. He was really trying to make up everything in turns 3 and 4. He drove into 3 way too hard and got back in the throttle, almost hit the fence off of 4 here.
So he'll be 21st quickest. That put Dale Jarrett on the bubble, and Elliott Sadler and Brett Bodine has been bumped out of the top 36.
Steve.
Mike, Ryan Newman finished twice in both races here a year ago. Now, Ryan, tell us about qualifying.
Oh, it's a good lap for the Auto Dodge. We picked up a little bit, I think, just based off of everybody losing a little bit, and then qualifying, and we kind of geared the car for having to be out on cold tires, and you know, it was okay. It just wasn't what we wanted, but we'll take it.
You feel confident you can get this car faster for the race?
I think so, yeah. I mean, the race is a totally different deal here. You got to be good for long runs. I mean, you don't get many chances to put on fresh tires and make adjustments, so we need to be good right out of the box.
Thanks, Ryan. Let's go to Dick.
With Jeff Burton, and you know, I like this guy at Richmond. He's won in the Busch Series, he's won in the Winston Cup Series, but best of all, in 17 Winston Cup starts, he's finished every single time. What's it take to do that?
You just had to say that, didn't you? Well, first of all, I like this racetrack. You know, we've had a lot of good things happen to us here. I announced my deal with Roush Racing. We've won here. We've sat on poles here. You know, when I sit on a pole somewhere, that's saying something. But Sicko Taurus is okay today. We went to Memphis and tested and had an awesome car, and came here with some of that stuff, and some of that stuff hadn't worked out just like we wanted it to. So we're making a little bit of a gamble here to see if we can improve just a little bit. The key today is run the same thing you ran in practice. If you do that, then you'll be okay.
All right, sounds like a good idea. Thanks, Jeff.
Well, Jimmy Spencer just did something we've not seen. He only ran 1 lap. Now, he's 21st quickest after that first lap, but evidently he didn't like what he felt.
Oh, no, Larry, he was
okay.
He was about out of here. He went down into turn 1 and had it going up the hill backwards.
Said he'd had enough.
Yeah, I think Mongo probably closed his eyes and said, let's go home.
That car was headed for Timbuktu. Spencer is 21st on the board. Terry Labonte is fastest. A few more flames on the day. Terry Labonte quickest in Bud Pole qualifying. Larry Foyt on the speedway.
Need those flames at night. That must be what it is. Everybody needs to flame up the things at night.
Oh, we'll have some.
Oh, yeah. Sparks.
Now, on the bubble is Hermie Sadler. That team has not run a lot of races this year, so if one car runs faster than Sadler, he goes home.
We talked about Brett Bodine. His only hope would be another man's misfortunes, and that would be Derek Cope, who will be coming up here in just a few cars that he don't run fast enough to be in the top 36. Boy, Larry Ford has his hands full. 21.85 on the first lap. That's not in the top 36, and I don't think this lap will be either.
Not after that.
He picked up on that second lap, and it puts him 36.
He moves to the bubble, and he's in the show for now.
And that would mean Hermie Sadler will not be.
Now, a couple of cars have been laid out to the line and excused from their scheduled position. Dave Blaney was one, and Jeremy Mayfield was the other.
Jeremy was supposed to go off 12th, Mike, and he's going to be one of the last cars to take time today. And here's what happened. During the practice session, he ran over a piece of lead that had fallen out of somebody's race car, and that lead really made a mess at the bottom of his automobile. So the crew has been working on it, trying to get it out here. Jeremy has been sitting on the wall signing autographs for this entire qualifying session. But now he's in the car and ready to go.
Tony Stewart. One front row start here in his rookie season, 1999.
Oh, car looks pretty good and solid, Darrell. He was 8th quickest in practice.
Lost a little bit of time there and won on that first lap. Looks like he actually got below the yellow line.
Got his first career win here in 1999.
I'll have to pick it up.
And has since won twice more.
Got a little bit too low there last time, and I got it. He just about clipped that apron there, but that looked a lot better.
Yeah, it looks a lot better right here as you watch our tracker. 36 quickest on his first lap.
Knocks Larry Foyt into provisional land.
He's coming around there pretty good this time, Larry.
8th quickest, exactly where he practiced, 8th quickest.
And it sends Jeff Green onto the bubble. So far, back in provisional territory, Larry Foyt, Hermie Sadler, Dale Jarrett, Elliott Sadler, and Brett Bodine.
But Terry Labonte continues to hang on to the pole. That would be huge, Larry.
And only, you know, everybody's a bullet, don't get me wrong. You know, we know Jeff Burton, who's the last car to go out, could beat him. The only car left that even practiced in the top 10 would be this guy right here, though, Kurt Busch in the 97 car.
Do not adjust your set. Wow. That's bright. 5 first or seconds in 03.
This place has not been good to him. Darrell, you talked about teams going to places to test that you feel like you're weak at. They came here and tested because Jimmy Finney said this is one of our big weaknesses. 4 starts, don't even have close to a top 10 finish.
Well, the right front of that car really is stuck up in the air when it goes down the straightaway, but certainly it comes right down onto the, even with the racetrack when he goes in the corner. But man, when you look at it coming down the straightaway, she's all hiked up on that right front. Look at that. Then she lays right down in there for him.
26 quickest on the first lap. I don't think he's going to be a threat for the pole. We'll have a lot better second lap, though.
But he's definitely, goes up to 8th on the board. Definitely going to improve his average start, which is 32nd is his average this year.
That should help that.
Must be the new paint job. Let's slot him in 7th. Actually, he ties Kyle Petty to the 1,000th of a second. So Busch wins the tie by virtue of car owner points.
But I'm going to tell you what, we talked about this a while ago, guys. Right now, Terry Labonte's on the pole at a 21.34. And right now, Ricky Craven is 35th, or Michael's on the bubble at a 21.67. That's right at 3/10 of a second. How do you say you run bad? 3/10 of a second.
And look at those times from Ryan Newman. I mean, they're 41, a 41, a 42, 2, 2, 2, 3. I mean, they're so, we're talking thousandths of a second.
There's 10 cars in the 40s. In the 2140s.
And there's the 2 bullets right there that Terry Labonte has to dodge. See Derek Cope pulling out on the racetrack right now in the 37 car.
Yeah, Cope this morning, I think he had a problem in practice. I'm not sure what happened. I know he spun. I don't know. I don't think he hit anything. Oh, here you go. Our guys are all over this, yeah.
And when you come off turn 2 and you spin and you don't hit anything and you end up pointed almost in the right direction, you're lucky. Very lucky.
Cope's best start here came in 1995. Started 5th, finished 6th. He's made 5 races in 2003, and it's either Derek Cope or Brett Bodine who goes home, and it all hinges on these 2 laps right here.
Yeah, and Derek was 44th quickest in practice, and it's a shame because I talked to Derek, and of the starts he's made this year, he had a lot of hope, and he's 43rd quickest right now on his first lap of 43 cars. This is a brand new car. They came up here and tested. They felt like they dotted every I and crossed every T, so he's going to have to pick up about 4/10 of a second if he wants to get in this field.
Car looks, I mean, it's handling good, Larry.
He has to time in or head home, and at home it is. He out-qualifies Brett Bodine, but that's way back in provisional land, and Bodine has more provisional points than Derek Cope.
See if we can look down in the car there with him and see how he's a little, yeah, he's working that wheel. That just is normally when you see your hands do that, your foot is responding the same way.
Means when you cut one way it lifts, when you cut the other way it lifts.
That's right. You go, whoa, whoa, whoa.
So 2 drivers yet to run, but the field is set. Just the positions are at stake, and here is Jeremy Mayfield. Started 11th at California. His best start here, 1999. Start of 14. Pole winner at Talladega.
It was 23rd quickest in practice, but that's been about the only highlight of his season since the Daytona 500 was the pole at Talladega, because he's finished 18th or worse in the 9 races since the Daytona 500.
Michael Waltrip trying to avoid provisional land. So far, Waltrip hangs at 36th. That lap of Jeremy's not good enough.
21.73. Michael's at a 21.67 right now. This is the car that they felt like was pretty good at Martinsville and had the power steering belt come off.
Turn so many RPM there, sometimes you'll get one turnaround backwards and knock a belt off.
Picks up quite a bit though, Mike.
Big pickup. Mayfield goes to 18th. And it moves Ricky Craven to the bubble, and Michael Waltrip will have to take a provisional. Final qualifier will be Jeff Burton.
And then there was one bullet left in the gun.
Right now,
I tell you what, Terry Labonte is going to be one happy guy.
Right now, the best Ford is Kurt Busch 7th, then Greg Biffle 15th, and Matt Kenseth 17th.
And when somebody like Terry Labonte sits on the pole, I think that's a strong message to everybody in the garage area, because I've seen Terry, he runs this track very, very well, and he could be a contender here tomorrow night.
Tell you what, well, Jeff Burton looked like a contender for just a few seconds there through turn 1 and 2, but I think what he did, Darrell, he drove it off into 1, speed went up, but it wouldn't come off turn 2.
Couldn't hang on.
His crew chief, Paul Andrews, I want to give a call to his son, Tim Andrews, ran the Busch North season opener up in Lee, New Hampshire, finished 4th the other day. So congratulations, Tim.
That's a tough little racetrack. He was the highest finishing rookie. Good run. First lap for Burton, 34th. Ricky Craven will have to take a provisional. See if Jeff can move up a bit on lap 2.
I think he'll be a little better on this lap.
Much better, 16th.
Much better. But, buddy, the gleam you see from the garage is Terry Labonte and that crew smiling down there right now.
And those folks over there that carved that car out of cheese, they got to be having a little wine with that cheese.
It is the 27th career pole for Terry Labonte. His first pole since Texas in 2000, and his first short track pole in forever.
And an all Hendrick front row. Terry Labonte and front row Joe.
Front row Joe.
Terry Labonte has put a stunner on him here in Richmond for the first time since 1997. He has won the pole on a Winston Cup short track, and Joe Nemechek starts in the first 2 rows for the first time ever at Richmond. Here's Dick.
At his 3rd pole for this race. He has won this race twice. Here comes Jimmy Johnson to congratulate you. Jeff Gordon to congratulate you. There, now we got a smile. How about it? How's it feel?
Well, it feels good, and it's feels real good. Our car was awful good off the truck. The guys did a good job, kind of fine-tuning it there, and it was a good run for us. So we got a pole for the Kellogg's Got Milk, the Power of Cheese Chevy Monte Carlo. So,
hey, you got it all in.
Yep, it was a good day.
How about for the race? How much will you change this car for the race tomorrow night, Terry?
I don't know. We'll have to change it just a little bit, I'm sure. It'll probably be a little bit tight here when we go back out here for happy hour. So we'll make some adjustments for that before we start that and go from there.
Is this a big relief to you? It's been such a long time since you won a pole.
Well, it has been a while since we've won a pole, but we've been running pretty good here lately. And last week, right off the truck, we were fastest in practice at California for the first hour there. So I don't know. Our team is really coming together. The guys are doing a great job, and I didn't really get that good a lap, I didn't think. And I thought, well, that'll get us in the top 10 hopefully, but it was good enough for the pole.
Stand by. I'm going to take my headset off because Darrell Waltrip wants to talk to you. Here you go.
He looks nervous about this.
He's like, what?
This ought to be good. Okay.
Why did you cringe when they said I wanted to talk to you? I wanted to congratulate you,
thank
man.
You. Oh, thank you,
yeah,
it.
There's a little blonde-headed girl up here with us, Karen Mason Cup, who's been telling me for the last couple of weeks, Richmond, you told her that you were going to have a big party at Richmond. Is that true?
Well, we're not going to have one tonight, but hopefully we'll have one next week. But, no, we've got a really good car, and the guys on our team are doing a great job, and it was a good qualifying run. I would have been happy to have been in the top 10 for qualifying. What we've really got to work on here is happy hour and be ready for the race tomorrow night.
Terry, I've seen you wear them out here, buddy. I mean, I remember one race here, you wasn't all that good. You changed the left front spring or a shock you and DeHart did, and you wiped them out that night. Can you do it again?
Well, I don't know. This is such a tough place to get a hold of, and if we can get our car right and stay on top of it all night, we can have a good run. So that's what we got to do, just try to get our car handling good, stay out of trouble, and I think we can get a good finish.
All right, buddy. Well, good luck, man. I'm proud of you. Way to go. You put them young boys on the trailer.
All right.
Hey, Terry, this is Larry Mack again. Congratulations. But you've mentioned your team a couple of times, and I go and talk with those boys, Jim Long and all, every week. And the thing that has really inspired me is even through the struggles you guys have been, I see the same guys there. You've not lost anyone, and you can tell talking to them, they believe in Terry Labonte.
I'll tell you what, we've got a great team, and our finishes haven't really shown, I think, how good we've run a lot of times this year. And, we just got to keep working at it. And, like I said, I think we've got a good team, and I think that we can have some good races coming up, some good tracks coming up for us, and this is one of them.
We'll be pulling for you tomorrow night, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, the other thing I noticed, Terry, is you helped all your teammates, too. I like it when you share the wealth like that. I mean, you got Joe alongside of you.
It was close,
and you helped Jeff. I mean, look what you did for him. And, of course, Jimmy's back there, too. Nice job.
All of them in the top 10.
I'll tell you what, it's never probably been better at Hendrick Motorsports than it is today with all the crew chiefs working together and all that. So it's really been a big help.
All right.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Here's how the Hendrick Chevys will line up. 7 Chevys in the top 10. 4 of them are from the Rick Hendrick team. One of the spoilers was the Ford of Kurt Busch, who is 7th. Here's Steve.
And coming off a win at California now, Kurt, in 4 previous starts here, your best start was 22nd. Boy, you've improved.
Yeah, we've been awful here in the past. So we came and tested 3 weeks ago and got a lot of work done. There's a lot of tracks you can go and prepare for, specific tracks, but nothing beats coming to the racetrack and biting a bullet and taking a test. So we did that here, and so far it's paid off.
How encouraging is it to you, Kurt, to make that big of a move up in the qualifying order?
Well, it's big because short track racing, you've got to be competitive from the get-go, and you can get put a lap down quickly. And so this will help with maintaining track position, and we've got a new sponsor somewhat this weekend, Rubbermaid Commercial Products. So, it's just a brand of Rubbermaid, of course. Want to make everybody aware of that, and they've got big brute containers. They're real hefty duty.
Now, qualifying is one thing. You actually have to go race tomorrow night. Your thoughts on tomorrow night's race?
Yeah, it's tough when you test here because they don't turn the lights on for you. So you got to get a ballpark figure. And so I think we're in the ballpark. We're playing in the infield, and we'll let it rip.
Good luck.
Thank you.
He's another one, Darrell. Every time they have a special paint scheme, bingo. They will turn these cars around pretty quickly for final Winston Cup practice. But we have more for you. Stay tuned. You can speed up your Sunday with Speed News NASCAR Edition, 7 p.m. Eastern. Speed News World Class follows immediately, and then NASCAR Victory Lane. Virginia, the former Richmond Fairgrounds, is now Richmond International Raceway, a 3/4 mile oval ringed with seats near all the way around where the fans expect action, and they are rarely disappointed. Bud Pole qualifying coming at you on Speed. Welcome to Speed Channel's coverage of the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Bud Pole qualifying from Richmond International Raceway. Field getting set to go to line them up. 45 cars here for 43 spots. 1 week ago, Kurt Busch ended the string of races without a repeat winner. He's now the season's only 2-time visitor to Victory Lane, and finds himself 4th in the championship chase, 168 points out of 1st. That spot held by his Roush Racing teammate Matt Kenseth. Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to lead the points for the first time ever, and 4-time titleist Jeff Gordon sits 3rd. Hi everybody, and welcome to Richmond. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds and Darrell Waltrip. And Darrell, we've said it about the 2-mile and the 1.5-mile tracks, but when you come here and go off into turn 1, this place is fast.
Oh, yeah. You don't realize it. You think about this being a short track, but this thing's a 3/4 mile speedway. I was here last night watching the Busch cars practice. Man, they're flying down that back straightaway, and that's the slowest part of the racetrack. You come around this big D-shaped front straightaway, you're probably going to hit 140, 45 miles an hour, headed off into that slick, and I repeat, slick first turn.
Larry, this track looks wide along the front straightaway as we see, but where you need it to be wide, it just funnels up on you, and you got to keep your car in one piece here. It's hard to do.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest thing, and we talk about this a lot every week, but especially on qualifying day with fresh tires, everybody wants to run around the bottom. It's a very hit-your-mark sensitive racetrack. Yeah, it's wide, but if you miss your mark that far, you're going to get up out of the groove, and you're not going to have a very good qualifying lap. But, Darryl, you talk about how fast they run off in the corners. One of the biggest challenges for the crew chief is convincing that driver you have to roll out of the throttle because the law of physics is going to take over. We've got to go around that corner and come out the other end, and that beats more people.
Well, Terry Labonte is going to start on the pole. Little brother Bobby is going to start in 4th position. You happier for yourself or for him?
Really for Terry. I mean, you know, they've been running better every weekend. I mean, just a little bit at a time, of course. But, I mean, it's just getting there. So I'm really excited about Terry and all those guys at Hendrick Motorsports in that 5 car. They really have been running better, and good for them to win a pole.
And you have been running so much better as well. Got a win already this year, 2nd last week, 2nd the week before. What's the turnaround due to?
You know, I mean, we just got a lot of good things going on. You know, Michael's come in here, and
that's Michael McSwain, the crew chief,
working really good together, and all these guys work real hard. And you know, we got some new race cars. Obviously got new Chevrolet on these cars, and just a lot of good things and making the right decisions, I guess. So really having a lot of fun right now.
Now I'm watching what these guys are doing to your race car to get you ready for race trim. I've seen that they're changing the brakes. I've seen that they're also just in general working on the suspension, putting the belts on this car. You helped change the anti-roll bar up front. What else you doing?
I'm in the way right now, probably. Chances are, but we'll get out of the way here in a minute and let them do their work.
Is this a major changeover from qualifying here at Richmond to the race trim?
It is to a certain extent. It is to a certain extent. You know, just because qualifying here, you just get geared up for the 2 laps. But you know, we do change quite a bit over and to get ready for a race setup. And you know, our setup is a little bit different, but in some ways it's not, but in some ways it is. Obviously, the gear change and the fan and stuff like that. But then the 4 springs will be a little bit different. But we just tweak on them a little bit. Not a major deal. If we were really bad, we'd be changing a lot of stuff, I'm afraid.
Now, I've been hearing an awful lot of drivers talking about grip, trying to get grip. Is there less grip now than there was last year, or is it better?
You know, it feels like there's less grip. I mean, all day long, we run pretty fast, and I'd say, man, I just don't feel like I can, you know, hustle a car around a racetrack. So, obviously, it feels like it to me. So maybe it is. If a lot of other people agree that the track seems like it lost grip, but you know, still old Richmond. I mean, it's still pretty fast. It's on the bottom of the racetrack right now, and you know, hopefully the groove will move up. But right now, it looks a little slippery on top.
And that all makes this one of the more fun places to watch an automobile race, Mike.
You bet. The 2 Joe Gibbs cars are 4th and 9th. The 2 MB2 Pontiacs are 2 1/100ths of a second apart, and the 2 Joe Gibbs cars are 2 1/100ths of a second apart at the wrong end of the grid. We'll be back with more from Richmond in a moment. Speed Channel's coverage of Winston Cup qualifying from Richmond is brought to you by Stamina RX Maximum Male Sexual Performance Enhancer, now available without a prescription. And by Parts Plus, America's family of auto parts stores and service centers. Steve Burns.
With Bill Elliott. Hey, Bill, I'm curious. You guys fought your way to a top 5 last week at California. Is that something that you can build on? Is it a momentum thing for you?
Well, this day and time, I don't know what is a momentum thing. I mean, there's so many ups and downs in this sport. You know, when anything you can do positive seems to get things going in the right direction. But, you know, the things that I say, if you can keep your people together, that's probably as crucial part of this sport as anything. You know, the first part of the year, we lost a few people, and we're trying to get everybody to fit together again because, you know, we've got really good people, but just making all that come together, you know, that to me is the biggest struggle in this garage is trying to keep everybody, you know, working toward a goal of winning races and keep the momentum going when you've got it going.
How about this racetrack, Bill? How do you like getting around here?
Well, I kind of like the racetrack, but, you know, it's plagued me here the last 2 or 3 races. I've just not been that good, and, you know, we didn't qualify that well, and we'll just see if we can get this Dodge where it needs to be a little bit later.
We'll let you go to work. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Let's go to Dick Berggren.
With Ricky Rudd, who tomorrow will make his 48th start here. Boy, you've been around a long time. Won here in 1984. It was in February at that time. Also won here in September of 2001. What have you learned about this joint and all this racing you've done?
Well, I guess, Dick, over the years, I learned it's always a tough race at Richmond. You know, the new racetrack configuration, like it's been for the last, 8-10 years, it lends itself to a lot of good racing. we kind of got ourselves in a box. We didn't get the qualifying run we expected, and but we tested here a couple of weeks ago. It's really good in race trim. So what I like about Richmond is it's wide enough. If you have a problem, you can come from the back to the front, and can't really blame it too much on track position, but it's a good racetrack to race on.
Now, you've been in some of the real classic duels here. I think people who are real good fans of this sport remember you and Earnhardt going at it lap after lap after lap. Is that fun, or is that just intimidating to run out here as hard as you used to run with him?
Well, actually, it's fun. You know, I mean, you kind of sit the points aside. You don't think about that. You don't think about that finishing result. You just, I mean, you're out there. When it's intense like that, to me, that's what I live to get in those type of situations where you're battling for the lead, and it's not just sitting out there leading every lap, but it's intense. You're racing somebody side by side, and I remember some awfully good races here.
Yep, so do we. Mike?
That's kind of race he had here with Kevin Harvick not long ago. Tuesday, April 29th, Dale Earnhardt's 52nd birthday was commemorated up at Dale Earnhardt Inc. in Mooresville on what is now Route 3. Fans got a rare chance to come in and tour behind the scenes and have a look at some of Dale's race car and car collection.
The winner of this one is Lloyd Hodges.
Auction for charity and a Jeannie Barnes portrait that will hang in the DEI corporate office. Unveiled. Fans came from as far north as Connecticut and as far west as Las Vegas to honor the memory of Dale Earnhardt. The house that Dale built, Dale Earnhardt Inc., has 3 cars here. There's one of them, Steve Park, who qualified right smack in the middle of the DEI cars. Junior 3rd and Michael 37th.
That's about as far apart as you can have 3 cars, team cars.
I think their expression pretty well tells it all. Junior's pretty happy. Park's okay. And Michael, I don't know about that.
Well, that's the way it often is here. Now, you look at MB2, their 2 cars are 200ths apart. The 8's cars are 200ths apart at the wrong end of the grid. And these fellows are all over the place.
Yeah, they are. This qualifying is always difficult here. You got the option of going on stickers, or you can go on buff tires. That's kind of one of those things you're never quite sure about. Ran your best lap in practice on your 3rd or 4th lap, so you say, okay, let's go on scuffs. Then after it's over, we say, shouldn't have gone on scuffs.
Depends on where you qualify.
Guy went on the pole. He's on stickers.
Yeah. You'll see those tire guys running up and down pit road making notes of who's on stickers, who's been out on scuff tires, and it's an array of things. But, you know, you made an interesting point early in the qualifying session, Darrell, that this racetrack has somewhat favored the Fords. There's only 1 Ford qualified in the top 10. There's only 4 in the top 25, but trust me, that old 17 car, I'd say he'd be one to watch come tomorrow night.
Oh, Matt Kens, it doesn't matter where he starts.
No, it doesn't.
He can find his way to the front.
And I think part of that's because I think the Fords initially were the first engine builders, the guys at the Ford cars that could turn that 9,000 RPM, sustained RPM. I think they got there first. Everybody else caught up now, and so we might see a different brand win, but Ford has been pretty dominant here through the years.
All right, we heard Ricky Rudd's side of that epic battle here not long ago. Let's get the other side of the story, Dick.
Well, the other side of that epic battle was Kevin Harvick. Remember that race with you and Ricky Rudd where the 2 of you were swapping the lead back and forth? Did you have a good time doing that?
Yeah, we had a lot of fun that night. Came up off the corner and just kind of clipped him and kind of misjudged it a little bit, and I knew what was coming when he came back because our car wasn't quite as good as his, but it was a lot of fun.
You were 4th in practice this morning, but not as good a qualifying run. What happened out there, Kevin?
I went into turn 1, the first lap, we just kind of wanted to heat all 4 tires up evenly, and went in the second lap, and the thing just stepped out a little bit. And you slip a little bit here, and you're going to lose a lot of spots. But Jim Goodwin's car's good. It's been good since we unloaded, and we'll be fine.
That's all right. It's more fun watching you pass people anyway. Steve?
Thanks, Dick. We've caught up with Ward Burton. Ward, you're going to start 20th. But, man, a year ago, you led 125 laps before mechanical problems sent you to the garage. You had a great race car.
That baby was bad to the bone that night. The cat was very purring, man. We were close feeling like that when we first got here. The track freed up a little bit, and that setup got too free, and that set of tires was a little bit too loose qualifying. But we'll work real hard. You know, we're still, and everybody's got to deal with this, and we're going to be on a lot harder surface today than we are 20, 30 minutes after the race starts, because in Virginia, the difference between 630, 738 is a lot of temperature change, and that track will hold that temperature. But we're going to judge the best we can, try to get a good setup on that baby.
Why are you giving me a hard time about sweating? You're sweating.
Look like you've been out to a beer pub with me last night.
Negative.
I was out actually seeing my grandmother and some other friends, but you're still doing a good job. Don't you think you're doing a pretty good job?
Thanks, Ward. Hey, good luck.
What did he say? He was out to a beer parlor last night. Is that what he said?
I think he said beer pub.
Oh, beer pub.
Yeah.
Well, maybe so.
Well, this weekend, action continues tonight with Winston Cup practice, followed by the Busch Series race. It's all on FX. Tomorrow, Tony Stewart looks to defend his title in the Pontiac Excitement 400 on FX. NASCAR continues this weekend across the Fox networks.
Man, the last short track race of the first half of the season, but the first points race under the lights. I can't wait, guys.
Yeah, you know, Kevin Harvick is kind of funny. Remember last when he turned Ricky Rudd sideways back here? I think he thought he was out of here, and he wouldn't have to deal with him anymore. When he looked in his mirror and he said, uh-oh, he's coming back. He knew what he was in for. Let's go get us a hot dog. What do you think?
At least one.
I'm sure that's where Hammond's at.
Thanks for joining us for Bud Pole qualifying on Speed. All of us congratulate Terry Labonte, winner of the Bud Pole for tomorrow night's race at Richmond.